See you guys.
All right. Golly. Did you get sworn in, Bill?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay.
I think you did, but I still have to ask the question.
Sure.
Perfect. So we're not waiting for Dell or for Katie.
Woohoo!
Get started. When your tone says he's back, then we'll get going.
I'm ready.
Oh, we got Chris Edwards, thank you for attending. At least I let his iPad in. Oh, he's still connected to audio. Okay. Nice cabinets.
Hey Dave, are you hosting the meeting or is Tom or
David is.
Well, Tom,
okay.
why? Yeah.
I'm just wondering if you could make me a co-host so I can share my screen.
Oh, yeah. Be glad to. I still haven't put the meeting order. I was going to wait for your tone, but
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, you are? Okay, good. No, you said you're stepping away, so I was waiting for you to come back. But you're back. Good. Cool. Okay. This is David Weed, Chairman of the Morris Planning and Zoning Commission. I'd like to call to order a regular meeting of the commission at approximately 7:06 p.m. on Wednesday, August 10th, 2020.
September 2nd.
Oh, I'm looking at is that the right agenda?
Oh, Dave, what happened was when I emailed it to you guys, I forgot to change the date, but the one online has the right date.
So you can see, I just, I
wanna-
just read the cue. Now let me correct that. It's Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020. And board members present are David Jeremiah, Veronica Florio, Bill Ailes, Eileen Yarbudis, and we have guests, Jocelyn Eyre and Chris Edwards. I didn't mean to forget you, Tony. Tony Adili, the zoning enforcement officer, and of course, Thomas White. Tom White, he's the first selectman, as we all know. And the first, I might take it on this before we, first order is agenda review. And under that, I'm going to ask Jocelyn, are you limited in time tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, not a problem. So if it's okay with Chris, well, the question then for Chris is, what's your availability tonight? Chris Edwards. I think that's your name. Do I have your name right?
You're on mute.
Yeah. Unmute him.
I think he's got to unmute himself.
Is that it?
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Yes. I think we're going to spend a few minutes on your stuff too. Can we jump over you and take care of Jocelyn first and then come back to you?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, just didn't want to just presumptuously jump without giving you a chance to speak for yourself. Thank you. Okay, then we will jump to 4B. I have nothing to add. We don't have anything to add to the agenda, do we, Tone?
I don't think so.
I don't have anything anyway.
Do
So
we
then,
still have the complaint from Kevin Derone to add?
I got an email from him. I'll deal with that under communications. Just remind me when we get there. Veronica
Okay.
and Tony and everybody, when we get to communications, we want to talk about Kevin Durone. I just saw the email. I haven't really looked at my personal email until, 10 minutes ago and have not had a chance to even read it. But let's do that. So with that, we will go right to 4B, and Jocelyn Air, I give you the floor and you should be able to present.
Thanks. So I wanted to go over 3 hopefully quick things. First, I wanted to show you all kind of where we are with the reformatting of the draft plan. And thank you, Veronica and Eileen and Dave, for your work on those sections. So I want to show you that real quick and just make sure that everyone's on the same page with the direction we're going in for the reformatting. And then I want to quickly talk about the one requirement of your plan is a land use plan map. So I wanted to show you some examples of other towns, what they've done for their land use plan map in their town plan, and just get some direction from you on how I can help you with that. And then talk about the public input forums that hopefully could happen in October, just to keep the process moving. Does that sound okay?
Mhm.
Let's go for it.
Great. So I'm going to show you, I don't know, I did send this around to Dave. You haven't sent this to the rest of the folks, right?
If you sent it today, I have not had a chance to send it yet. So.
Yeah, that's okay. I wanted to just share it just so you could see kind of where we're going with it. So is the revised table of contents, the introduction, current conditions and trends in terms of demographics, jobs and income. Can you guys see this okay, or is it teeny tiny?
Yeah.
really-
It's easy to read.
You don't really have to be able to read it yet.
Oh, well then,
But just so you can see again, the idea is that the main sections are, water and natural resources, and economic development, rural character. And so they're all reformatted to be in this more table format that we talked about at the last meeting. And I think we still have some work to do, Dave, on the economic development section in terms of whittling it down a little. But, again, I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page with kind of the formatting. And then what I'll do between now and your next meeting is, and you'd still need to draft the housing section of the plan. Veronica just sent me the infrastructure section an hour or so ago, or maybe a few hours ago. So I'll get that in there. And then my goal would be, by next Thursday to get the draft to all of you so that you have time to read it before your next meeting.
That would be awesome.
And so the goal would be at the next meeting to really talk about, are the right goals and strategies in here? Are there edits that need to be made to them? And, are they addressing the issues that residents brought up? Again, in terms of the formatting, other than the tables, and we talked about this briefly at the last meeting, we were thinking, I think, of maybe trying to do, invite residents to submit photos, have kind of like a photo contest of what they love about Morris, or, maybe have them compete to get their photo as the cover of the Morristown plan. Just again, as another way to engage people in the process. And plus we need images to make this document that much more entertaining to look at. So I sort
Sure.
of left placeholders in here for that.
It looks great, Jocelyn.
Yeah.
Also, a copy, this is on the website, just so everyone knows, under the agenda today, just so we all know it's on there. So,
Oh, good. You got that up there? Thank you. You happen to get that up there? Appreciate it.
I can't understand anything you're saying, Dave.
Oh, yes, I have it here. I printed everything. I was wondering why the printer took so long.
No, I was just saying thank you for for getting all that stuff up on the web, or
Yes.
getting them to get it up on the web.
I would suggest you take it off when you get the new draft because, this is still pretty rough, but
no, of course.
yeah. All right. So if everyone's good with that, I will endeavor to get the rest of it together and back out to you before your next meeting.
Thank you so
Um,
much for your help, Jocelyn.
Yeah. Thank you. So then
Yeah,
the
thank
other piece we wanted to talk about was, again, you've got to do a, get to the last page here. You have to do a land use policy map. According to statute, your land use policy map has to recommend the most desirable use of land within the municipality for residential, recreational, commercial, industrial, conservation, and other purposes.
Oh, boy.
Do you guys know, do you happen to know if you do a differential tax treatment for open space under PA 490 in Morris?
Yep.
I know
You
recommendations.
do
we
open space? Because I know there's
we do, but-
basically 3 designations. There's farmland, forest land, and then there's open space, but the town kind of has to like opt into the open space one.
I'm not sure about the open space. I know we do the 490 and the forestry.
Okay. Well, this just came up in Roxbury, actually. We finished their town plan. No one said anything. And then it turns out that 10 years ago, they passed a town resolution allowing this treatment, PA 490 treatment of open space, which is not necessarily farmland or forest land, but is supposed to have some other conservation value and
Excess acreage.
excess acreage. Yeah. And so if that, so by my reading of the statute, if that policy is in place in Morris, then the priority open space needs to be shown on this map as well.
Hey, Jocelyn.
Yeah.
It's Monica. I have a copy, that nice book that was done in 2005, Natural and Cultural Resources Inventory of Morris.
Yeah.
There's a map called Town of Morris Open Space. It shows committed open space land, uncommitted open space land, town-owned land, lakes, ponds, reservoirs, river, streams, parcel boundaries, major roads, local roads, and unimproved roads in color.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, my guess is that that is existing preserved open space. Not necessarily, say, somebody who owns, not necessarily open space that you want to preserve in the future.
Well, no, this was just what was, and they show White Memorial is uncommitted open space land.
Right, yeah.
Camp Columbia is the only thing that's highlighted. Besides that, some farmland preservation areas and over by the reservoirs are the only committed open space land on the map.
Right.
The thing is, Jocelyn, there's always been a question that has dogged me, is that we have so much open space in Morris to begin with. Is there still a priority? And some of the board members who feel very strongly about the rural character can maybe help come up with ammunition towards answering that question. Do we really?
Well, you know what?
Do we
Let
need
me
to
start by I'll just, if it's okay with you guys, I'll just call your tax assessor directly and ask her if she does the open space designation as well as farms and forest land, and then we'll figure out how to deal with it.
Thank you, Jocelyn. That's perfect. I mean, 'cause
So-
I know
David-
once was a recommendation, I thought, in one of our town plans of development at one point, I thought.
Okay.
I know I talked of it. I'm familiar with it.
So I just wanted to show you, oh, where'd that go? What some of the other towns did in terms of a future land use map. This is Norfolk's. Did all of my other maps go away? No.
We're not seeing
Again,
it.
sorry, you can't see it?
No, we're still on the land use policy, as always say.
Oh.
Says Morris, yeah.
Can you see that?
The cornball there.
Cornwalls.
All right, so Cornwall basically did this approach where they mapped their village centers. I mean, they have all their parcels mapped. I think you guys do too. And recreational trails and permanently protected land, which is probably what is on your other map as open space. And then
Yeah.
basically had some policy statements like the ones you're seeing here around the kinds of things that should happen in the village center areas versus the, you know, rural, the more the outskirts of town and the protected areas. So we could do something like that. That is also what Roxbury did. I have Roxbury open here. Maybe this is.
This
And
page.
David, it looks like on the survey, the number one reason people live here is because of the rural character, so I would think they'd
No, I
be
know.
interested in
I know.
preserving it.
Warren, the town of Warren just said their zoning map was their future land use map, but I think when we talked about that at the last meeting, you said your current zoning may not necessarily reflect what you might have in your plan here.
Well, it's not optimal based on the soils in our town,
Right.
and, you know, R40's in the watershed. And
Right.
just for examples, an example.
So it is nice to have a map that you do, especially for your town plan, because it's formatted and updated.
Yeah.
We worked with HVA to do this mapping for Roxbury, and their map, they're just taking existing data layers. They're not like creating
Right.
new data layers, but so that cost for Roxbury, it costs $200 to have HVA help do a map for the town plan.
Say a lot more than that, I thought you were gonna say.
So, I
Well,
mean,
they already have the layers, and if we can
Well,
get that info. You just need the rasterized maps for them to be able to, you know, piece them together to combine the various layers that you need to build a map like that. It's relatively simple to do if you have the rasterized maps for each layer. Because one layer would be your zoning line, border lines. The other layer would be the protected land sort of thing, and that would all be layered on top of the town itself.
I mean, Cornwall they did a series of maps to put into their town plan. You know, this is protected lands, like we were just talking about, recreational opportunities, water resources, farmland. So there's maps of locally important farmland soils and prime farmland soils.
Yep, we have a map of that in the cultural resources inventory. We got a ton of maps in here. Topography,
Yeah.
geology, sufficient
And
material.
those are rasterized maps too, I believe.
Yep, culturally significant sites, natural diversity database, critical habitats, ton of them.
Excuse me, Veronica.
So I
this
don't
is
know.
Eileen.
Oh, I'm
This
sorry,
is
Ed, go
Eileen.
ahead.
How old is that data? Would it need to be updated?
No, it's from 2005, but I don't know, you know, if we could
Well-
get somebody to take these and update it from 15 years ago.
Well, certain things like water resources are not really going to change over the course of 15
Or-
years. Whereas protected
Soil.
lands, I mean, there are a few additions to that because there's a land trust and they own a couple of properties now and they didn't back in 2005.
Right. And we have additional
Do we have the,
commercial properties and things.
Yeah, I mean,
Right,
I'm
but
not,
do we
I'm
have
not
these-
saying that you need to do all of these maps. I'm just sort of showing you what other towns have done. The only one you have to do is the land use plan map, and I think it would make sense in terms of expediting things to have HBA do it.
Right.
We have no
But I
other
mean,
way
if
of
we could
doing it.
show-
than this, Jocelyn.
yeah,
We just need to make
watershed
decisions.
boundaries?
What did you say, David? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry. I don't think there's much choice otherwise
Oh,
to
okay.
to doing it through you, Jocelyn. It's just a question of how much can we give you of what we have already in a format that you can use such that it helps control the cost.
Yeah, the cost isn't really the data because HBA has access to all of that already. It's just their
Okay.
time, their staff time for making the map look nice, you know, formatting in a professional way, and making any edits that you guys want once you see the draft.
Okay.
And $200 is not, it's not
No.
very much, in my opinion. This
Well,
Eileen.
that's all it costs. Yeah, that's not much. I'm not assuming that's all it's going to cost. Because one costs 200 doesn't mean ours is going to cost 200.
We're smaller.
All right, well, I'll
do
move
that.
forward to try to do something like this.
I mean, all I ask of you, Jocelyn, is to, give us as the board an estimate for any work we're doing so we know what we're, like for that map, for example. And that way we can vote on it and approve it. So before you do the work,
Well,
just
I think
rather-
it would be good to, again, to speed things up, to move things along, if you could allocate $200 for the map. And then if it needs to be more than that, I would bring it back to you.
Well, hopefully the board members got a message and know what they're going to do now.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the $200 for Jocelyn to get our land use policy map made.
I would second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried.
All right, so I will, yeah, I'm not sure. I have to, because HVA is going to do the mapping. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I won't be able to have that be part of the draft that you guys get next week, but
That's fine.
I will
Yeah, that's,
definitely get you the rest of it. And so my goal would be that we could talk about, again, really talk about the text of the plan at the next meeting, which is the 14th.
14.
And then ideally get enough work done then to your next meeting is the 23rd.
Yes.
And I actually have a conflict with that, but so I'm asking whether there's any chance of moving it to say the 24th. I just cannot make it on the 23rd, but my goal would be that by that week of the 23rd, we would have what you guys feel comfortable with as saying is your final draft for that you can make available to the public to provide input on if we want to have input forums in October.
So,
And we could wait till the 14th and see where you are if you want.
yes, I mean, as far as scheduling it, 14th should give us enough. So it's, the October meeting will be, the October meetings are the
Is the
14th.
7th and 15th.
Oh, it's the 15th?
The 7th and the 13th, 'cause it was supposed to be the
13th.
12th day because of Columbus Day.
Okay.
It's 13th.
Cool. And so then the one that we added was 13,
Yeah,
14, 21. Was it? What was that?
23rd.
We have the
Was it
second.
26th?
I don't know.
So was it the 21st or was it the 28th?
I heard the 21st last meeting.
Okay.
I'm pretty
so
sure
it
it
was
was the 21st.
Yeah.
Okay, I just didn't 100% sure.
21st, September 20th.
Hello, Veronica. Is that you speaking? I don't understand you.
I just don't know.
You.
There you go.
Hey, I think we may have you. You back, Veronica?
Turn off your video.
She did.
I did.
That's better.
Thank you.
So I was going to suggest that we might consider trying to do some kind of forum for residents and the other town boards and commissions to provide input on the draft at one of your later October meetings. So either the 13th or the 21st.
Well, I would lean towards the 21st because if we're going to make the decision on the 14th, that of this month, that might be cutting it a little close to make sure we have enough lead time to set everything up.
Agreed.
Sure,
What's everybody
yeah.
else's feeling?
Maybe I could explain or give you my thoughts on how you could get this input, how you might do those forums.
Yes.
That might play into how much preparation is required, but I mean, the big question is how long it will take to get the text into, into a shape that everyone's comfortable with as saying to the public, here's our draft plan.
Right.
So I totally understand if you want to wait till the 14th where you have a better sense of that. I just wanted to make you aware basically that I cannot be available on the 23rd. So if you want me to be available to help flesh things out that week, then it can't be on the 23rd. But what I was thinking, and again, I'm just throwing out there an idea for you to consider. But I'm thinking that an in-person forum just probably isn't going to work. I can't think of any super safe way to do it and get the kind of feedback that you guys might want. So I would suggest considering doing a Zoom meeting, but you can do polling via Zoom. So we could ask people questions and they can give responses and you can see, immediately see the results of the polling questions. So what I was thinking was a Zoom meeting that you could have maybe twice. You could have a 5 o'clock one and a 7 o'clock one. The agenda would be to give a brief overview of the plan, which you would hope they would have looked at prior to then, review the survey responses to the resident input survey, and then have some polling questions for them so you can get a general sense for, whether they feel like the strategies in the plan, are going to help you meet your goals, for example. And then you can open it up for discussion and comments. Obviously, Zoom is not ideal for discussion and comments, but either is pretty much anything during COVID. And then I was thinking, in addition to that, we could potentially do another SurveyMonkey survey that's very much more specific to, here's the draft plan, you've reviewed it, you've seen it, and here are some specific questions we have for you, again, around whether you think the plan advances the town's goals. And then again, there could be some specific questions with multiple choice kinds of answers, and then there could also be an open comment section. I think it would be specifically really good to make sure to try to get input from the other town boards and commissions, especially those that are, named as responsible leads for some of these tasks. And we've talked about that before in terms of just making sure that they have the opportunity to provide input, especially on anything that they are being tasked with doing. So we could do both, again, kind of 1 or 2 Zoom sessions with polling and open discussion, and then potentially also do a SurveyMonkey survey to get feedback. So that's kind of what I was thinking, just short of being able to think of any real good way to do anything in person over the next few months.
I just assumed it was going to be Zoom anyway. Because Dave Wig.
Okay.
And again, does the board want to change the schedule for September based on Jocelyn's schedule?
I have no problem.
I'm good.
Yeah, we can.
Well,
I make a motion,
Oh, I'd like-
Arbutus, I make a motion to change the special meeting from September 23rd to a date of September 24th, contingent on getting promises from board members that are on the call right now that they will be there to make a quorum.
I second that motion. This is Veronica.
debate can be people confirming that the 24th will be good for them.
Because
I can't see why I can't be there.
Dave, you cannot?
I said I don't see why I cannot be there, so I should be there.
All right.
That's so.
Yeah, you broke up. I thought I heard the same thing.
I put it poorly.
20.
Well, negative.
I'm sorry to ask you to do that. I just have this other meeting I really have to be at that.
We will do it to work on your schedule.
So what I will do is, Dave, will that work for you?
Yeah.
Bill,
Yes, 24th works.
24th works.
Yes.
24th works, cool. Because that's what I'm looking for is the 24th. Eileen,
Yes, sir. I will be there.
Veronica,
I'll be there.
cool. We have a commitment from 5 people to be there. So we just, hopefully might get a couple extra too. Dell and Katie, so. Cool. I know you might have issues with that, but Tony, but
It's fine.
I think we need Jocelyn there.
No, it's fine. It's not a big deal. If not, I can jump on a little later. No big deal.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. So we will see you on the 14th and the 24th. Fours are wild.
Yeah, and I guess, in terms of preparing for October, I think the big thing will be, again, getting the word out. It's hard to get people to Zoom meetings. It's just,
9.
you can't offer cookies or ice cream or wine or beer or anything that people want to be doing at night. But I was wondering whether, doing this photo contest thing and then having people vote at the meeting on their favorite photo or something, maybe that would be somewhat fun. I think at the last meeting, we talked about the idea of, a gift certificate or something for the winner, but I don't know if that's absolutely necessary, but again, it might be fun. Door prizes, Zoom prizes, I don't know. But
how
I
do you
think,
do a drawing over? How do you do a drawing over Zoom?
well, you can do, a drawing for a door prize. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just teasing about that, I think.
Well, you could have the numbers in a hat, and if everybody can see somebody draw them, you draw them out of the hat.
Well,
How to get numbers in the hat and how do we associate the numbers with people?
They have to, yeah, good question. Pick a number, any number. Oh, that's my number.
so anyway, if you could think about something, maybe between now and the next meeting that you think would be fun or a way to get people to come to the meeting, but that doesn't take over the entire meeting.
Right.
I think a photo contest would be fun and also would get us some images for the plan. But, we'll also need to do a big push in terms of lots of different ways of getting the word out about it. Like I was thinking, a sign at town hall, maybe a sign at the transfer station, the Facebook page, the town website. Kind of need to sort of hit every possible thing that residents might see. Everybody's got to go to the transfer station, right? At some point.
Most people, yeah.
It's probably the most popular place in town, that's the post office.
Social highlight of my weekend, Jocelyn.
Yeah, well, there you go. So if we can have, a sign there and or a flyer. So anyway, if I was just, if we could all be thinking about what the best way is to get people to let them know about the opportunities to provide input and try to get their input, then we can talk.
Well, I mean, if we have a way to give out prizes, I could say that we could probably get restaurant gift certificates. I think we could probably wrangle that out. I might be able to, or my wife is probably even better at wrangling that out of a couple of people.
So you think we should ask these businesses to donate them for the contest, or we should pay them because they're probably struggling right now?
That's up to the board. I did send out the, excuse me, it's not me. It was actually Tony did the dirty work and he got it all this numbers out. So you know what our budget is.
Yeah.
And we just have to take a look at the budget and figure out.
Looks like we got
What?
6.
For the town planner. Which we could, I could always email
Went
the Board of Finance and ask them if we could use money out of the clerical, which we're not using at all,
What's
because we only have
contract?
$50 for supply. What's that?
What is it? One of the item numbers under our budget is P and Z contract services, and we have a budget of $5,000. It's the last item. We have ZEO, clerical, postage, supplies, legal notice, membership, education, mileage, town planner, legal fees, and contract services.
It says what I see is social services expenses. I'm honestly not sure what,
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong line, David. I'm sorry. Sorry.
that's okay. Is that your expenses, Tony? For like,
What do you mean?
what's social services dash expenses?
I do not know.
There isn't anything on the P and Z budget for that.
Yeah, unless maybe it was the treasurer sent it to me. Maybe they had that part under there. Maybe by mistake. I'm
You
thinking.
do have the town planner for $6,000.
Yeah, I
Right.
was looking at that
Kind
line.
of fall into this.
It doesn't have
Yeah,
any.
we could probably, maybe we could use that money out of that because it's for the town plan.
Yeah.
If we want to spend the money and get a $50 gift certificate to Giovanni's and the barn and Poppy's. Well, Poppy's, I almost say you get $5, $10 certificates, and you find some way to, if you need more. And then
West Shore Seafood.
I would guess we'd go with West Shore Seafood too, because that's technically, they pay taxes to our town.
They're going to be closing in a month.
And what about the deli too?
Oh, the deli. I forgot about that. Yes.
Make sure we hit all the eating places in Morris. Is there anywhere else that we're missing? Anybody? Can you think?
You tell me. I think that's it.
That's
Yeah.
all.
It's, you have the barn, you got, is that the right name for it, David?
Yeah, you had the barn, you had Giovanni's.
Bunch of
What's
those.
the-
West Shore and,
Store copy.
And the deli,
and
yeah.
deli.
Gas station too, but
All right, so
I don't think so.
I'm gonna get you guys a draft plan by next Thursday. I'm gonna work on the land use map. And then I will also, unless somebody else wants to, I could at least start a draft of a flyer that talks about the public input forums and the contest, the photo contest.
This is Eileen. I can take care of the public forum and
Why?
the flyer. Not a problem.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to review
appreciate
it and provide input, but it wouldn't hurt to get started on thinking about that so that we're ready as soon as the draft plan is ready to, start letting people know about those forums.
If you need help, let me know.
Thank you.
And I can probably print them at work. We call it a government job.
All right. Well, thank you. Those were all the things on my list.
Thank you, Joss.
And just a comment I would want, this is David Wig again. Comment I would want to make on the flyer is, do we want to talk about a photo contest with, like a
Mhm.
$50 gift certificate, restaurant prizes for people whose pictures
Yes.
make the
Yes, that's the only way we're going to get people to come. So we definitely need to put it
Yeah.
on there. The amount, the
Or-
restaurant.
That's what Jocelyn said, was to include that in the write-up.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're thinking around that line before we put it together. I think that we'd want to mention it. Cool.
Yeah.
I
and what-
appreciate you volunteering, Eileen. I think you're a good person for that job.
Hey,
And
David,
Veronica. Yes, go on, Veronica.
the major prize we'll put on the cover, the best one, right? It gets the biggest gift certificate.
Right. We just, we should be prepared when we come here on the 14th to make a motion on what we're going to buy from where and how much.
How much? Okay.
Yeah, I'll have that all proposed out and everything for everyone.
Thank you.
I'll do a
Do you-
donation day.
You
for
made
all
the big
good-
one $100 that would attract more people.
Well, actually, Dave will do a donation. He
I'll
could
donate.
donate 50, and we buy 50 from everybody, and that would make that 100, and that'd be the grand prize.
Yeah. Because, to sign on for a $25 gift certificate, most people might forget about it, but for $100, they might.
Yeah.
That's very kind of you, Dave. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks, everybody. I'm gonna get going, but I will see you shortly.
Thank you so much for your help, Jess.
Yeah, thanks for everything you've done with the reformatting.
See you on the 14th and the 24th.
Woohoo!
Sounds like a
All
full-time.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night. Thank you, Jocelyn.
Thanks.
Okay, we can jump back to 4A. And I'll turn it over to you, Tony, because you're the one who has the information from Eileen, I mean Brenda.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
basically, I don't know if Chris got the letter yet. You're here, Chris?
Yes, I am, Tony.
So basically, Brenda called me yesterday just saying how she sent you a letter describing the couple things she just wants you to do so that, between you guys, so that nothing else happen, or, there's no litigation or anything. So she sent you a letter, and that's basically it.
So if I could just make a couple of comments.
Go ahead, please. You have the floor, Chris.
Yeah, it's all you.
Thank you. And it seems as though one of the issues is a retaining wall. And I just wanted the board to know that when I was drafting the plans for the rebuild of my parents' cottage, first of all, everybody that I dealt with in town hall was extremely helpful, starting with Karen and Scott and then Vince. Two things that were pointed out to me in the planning process that I really wasn't aware of. One of them was, it was very, very important to have an engineered drainage system so that surface water wouldn't flow into the lake. And Dennis McMorrow drafted that plan. The second thing was that it was very important to provide for off-street parking because there had been some emergency vehicle access issues in Brunetto Grove. And that's why the retaining wall was put in. And that was on the original plan that I presented to the ZBA, and it was on the site plan. It was on, so everything that is there was in the plans that I submitted to the town and which were approved by the town. I just wanted the board to be aware of that.
I understand. I think, but do we have a copy of that letter yet, Tom?
No, she did not give me a copy of the letter, no.
I guess that being the case, I guess my only question is based on what you have, Chris. Because my understanding of what she was asking for, at least from the last meeting that she was actually attended, or she was most, beyond the retaining wall, which I think, I think that maybe, if anything, it would be a civil matter now, that we really, I'm not sure whether we want to get into that, but the board may differ from me. I'm not going to say that that's what we have to do here. But she seemed concerned about, the stones along the border. Was that something that she talked about in her letter, or is it the retaining wall?
I think so, yes. I think so, yes.
You think so? Which one do you think so?
She, about the wall, the stones.
The stones along the water, near the water?
Yeah, yeah, basically, I think that's what she mentioned.
Near the patio, right?
Chris, what's on the
Yeah.
letter?
I don't have the letter.
Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, she sent it from wherever she is, so you should be getting it soon.
Well, David, I have a question. It's Veronica.
Go on.
Chris said the ZBA approved this. So if the ZBA approved it, doesn't Brenda really have to go to them?
Well, as long as it was, I mean, and it appears to be built as it is on the map, the approval map. I think the only thing we need to do is look at the maps and look at the timeline just to confirm that that's consistent. But I think we did spend some time looking at that several meetings ago.
I'm
But-
pretty sure it's pretty consistent. They're all the same, and the retaining wall is on every map I have seen, so.
There you go.
What was the other concern she had?
The wall near the water.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Just what?
Brenda wants to prove that.
I don't think there's anything you can do about the wall on facing the water, but the only thing that could be done is adjust the stones
on the
along
back?
the border approaching the water.
Right.
That's all. I mean, I think it's
Like I said,
premature
I
to
think-
discuss it. Would you ask, Tony, could you ask Brenda that unless she's done with us, that she should share that letter with us too?
Yeah, I'll have her do that. I mean, she kind of said that she sent Chris the letter and they want to work it out. She wants to work it out with him. She doesn't really want to involve the town or
And
anything.
I think that's the way it should go too. I'm all for that too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so. I
So
agree.
I don't think we need to take more of Chris's time. But we'll keep this on the agenda so that we, unless anybody feels differently.
Well, I don't know. Do we need to keep it on the agenda?
Well,
Until they resolve, I mean, Chris, if you guys resolve, is somebody gonna let us know if you guys resolve this personally and then you want to take it off the agenda, David? Is that what you mean?
I guess I would think we should know what's in this letter and what comes with it before we drop it.
Yeah,
That's my.
it hurts nothing to keep it
If we
on and
think
then
we
we
can
can,
take it off the agenda, I'm not going to stop you from making a motion to do that. And the board agrees with you, then that's fine with me.
No,
I
yeah, we
really,
should put the letter in and see if they can resolve it, and then we'll take it off.
Can I ask
Because
a question to Chris?
just because I feel that way doesn't make it right. Go on, Dave, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to, Chris had mentioned that there was a off-street parking conflict that caused him to build the retaining wall in the location that it was in. I was just curious what bearing that had.
It wasn't a conflict. It was just that in discussing, so this is a total rebuilding of a cottage that my parents had purchased back in the 60s. And in talking with folks at town hall, in addition to the usual concerns that I was aware of, such as protecting the lake during construction with silt fences and all of that, that Dave Roberts knows his stuff and was terrific at. Two other things were mentioned to me. One was the engineered drainage system for surface water. And the second one was to make sure there were provisions for off-street parking, since in the past there had been some issues with emergency vehicle access in Brunetto Grove.
Yeah, it's a very tight street, small.
Sure. My father actually lives on that street, so I've been down that road several times. And I did drive by in anticipation for this meeting, knowing that this was going to be on the agenda, just to take a quick look. And it almost looked like the retaining wall was built several feet towards the Castelli residence to create an additional parking space when it probably could have been constructed under the house's footing.
So yeah, where it was constructed did provide more off-street parking.
Mhm. But in order to withhold the building, which is the definition of a retaining wall, it could have been built under the footing, 10 feet further to the north.
You
Well,
mean even with the garage?
Correct, yes.
so there's a garage foundation, but I think of, a retaining wall as retaining earth.
Correct. But it's retaining the earth for that just one parking space, not to support the house.
Well, there's actually 2 spaces there, car in front of car. And it also provides support for the garage foundation.
Okay, I'm trying to visualize. I mean, the whole issue is the fact that the wall was built, what Ms. Castelli thinks is too close to their property. And could that wall have been built closer to your footing? And it just seems like the parking space is the reason why that footing was moved further south.
I mean, I would, yes, I mean, I would agree with you, Chris. I mean, Bill, that is correct. But they got approval to do that.
Understood. I apologize. I'm trying to catch up on a lot of the background history, so I apologize.
But that goes back to the maps and the sequence of events. And I am not opposed to going through them one more time just to line up, what was on the map, when it was on the map versus when it was all approved. Because we did look at that a couple months ago.
I mean, Dave, also another thing is that it was a variance, but second, technically it's been 3 years anyways in terms of the structure being
True.
there. So technically it's it's conforming as in it's non-conforming anyway, because that's why he needed the variance, but it's been 3 years. So
Because it's had the 3-year
exactly. So
time frame. I understand what you're saying.
So if this was,
Just point of
think
information.
yeah, because I think
Just
if
for
the
the board.
variance was in 2013, that means 3 years is 2016. So in reality, it doesn't really.
But because I think what Tony's saying is that even if he didn't have that variance, you need to, if the complaint isn't registered within 3 years of the encroachment into the setback, that voids any option for redress in any way, shape, or form. It officially becomes an approved non-conforming situation. But I believe she may have originally written on that within that 3-year period.
No,
So
yeah,
that might
definitely.
be an issue. But that, I just want people to know and understand that situation, because that is an important situation that we will once in a while deal with.
Well, last meeting, I think you're more concerned was down by the water wall. Was it the limestone? Was it limestones that were down the sides?
Yeah, and align those up.
I think that was really
sound
what she's
like
really
something-
more concerned about than anything else.
Yeah, I agree, because when I talked to her, that was kind of what her biggest concern is.
Because I think if we can get those stones shifted back
I think
in
she'd be happy.
favor of her, that would probably take care of 90% of it.
And then
maybe
the sequel,
100%.
you guys can figure out maybe it's too big of a stone. Maybe she wants a smaller, flat one. You guys can probably come up with some kind of thing on the end there. You
Yep.
know, I think it's a very simple fix. Just got to communicate. You know? But I would see what the letter says. Maybe just something, hey, let's just get this squared up and move on.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Thank you, David. And thank you, Bill, for both you guys for your input on that. Both good points. Anybody else? I hear no motion to take it off the agenda. I am perfectly welcome to receiving one, because we can always add it back on if we need to. So, not a big deal either way.
I don't think take it off. I don't think we need it.
Do I have a second?
It's not. Leave it on.
No one's going to second Dave's motion? I don't like doing it, but since he made it, I'll second it so we can vote on it. So, any discussion? There's a motion on the floor. I will call the question. All those in favor of taking 48 Brunetto Grove off the agenda, please say aye.
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 All those opposed to taking 48 Brunetto Grove off the agenda, please say nay.
Nay.
Hey.
We have a tie. And this is the one time when I can vote if I want to, but I don't vote. Because a tie means the motion does not carry. But I could make it decisive one way or another, and I will remain impartial on the issue and leave it as a no vote. The motion is defeated.
This was a good lesson for us. I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, I think some chairmen vote. I mean, you're on the board of selectmen and you've got a select person from one party and a select person from another party. Many times the first selectman is going to vote just because that's the nature of the board. But I think I vote in my first term as chairman. I voted, I think, twice. One time I voted to create a tie, so we did not fire Tom McGowan. We ended up replacing, there was a motion to replace both the town engineer, which is a company called Malone and McBroom out of Cheshire, and the town planner, which was Tom McGowan, out of Litchfield. I would have voted for getting rid of Malone and McBroom, which we did eventually do, but no way was I going to throw Tom McGowan down the drain. I always liked what he'd done and still do. It's a shame that he can't be our town planner today, but he's just not up to doing that anymore, unfortunately.
All right, so leave it on.
And then the other thing, I forget what the other one was for at the moment, but that's the one I always remember. But anyway, let's go back to the agenda. And
We also have a Chris. Or,
Yeah.
yes, we're all set with you, Chris. You're welcome to hang on. You can welcome to go. We will not talk about you anymore tonight.
I just like to,
Chris,
I
you're
just
also
like to,
welcome to volunteer to join the
Go
board.
ahead,
Members.
I just like to thank the
What would you
board
like to
members
say,
for
sir?
their time.
anytime, Chris.
Oh, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
And
Thank you.
for your patience with us.
We'll work it out.
took a shot.
And
What's
on
next?
to complaints. We're not gonna spend a lot of time on this, but I do want to make one comment. While they made progress on 30 Anderson Road, I don't think the dumpster is still there. And now you take a look at it and take some pictures for our next, probably not for the 14th, but for the 24th, but for the October meeting, Tony.
Sounds good.
And would you reach out to 449 Bantam Lake Road and ask them if they're giving us updated, saying that it's looked pretty quiet this year. We hope that they're doing all right. We don't want to see them fail or anything, but are they going to come up with an updated site plan so we know how they're going to handle heavy traffic if we get back to the way things have been in the past?
Mm.
Yeah, Dave, that's fine. I wrote in my zero report describing the situation that it seems like it's not been an issue because there's been no complaints, but of course we have to keep an eye on
Right.
it.
And we'll skip over C and D for now. I'm not ready to deal with those if we even need to at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I went there today. It seems like they're okay, I guess.
Well, it's a mess down there in general. It's not, I just wish we had an easy way of making that look prettier,
With the boats, with the Marinata, I know, yeah.
especially that, yes. And
I mean, my brother lives at Town Line Road, and you see the house, and then you look there, it looks terrible. But what are you gonna do?
yeah, no, it does. I feel bad for Valone. It's not pretty.
But it is what it is.
And then the horses appear gone again.
I haven't seen them in over a month, so.
All right, then I make a motion to take the horses off of the agenda unless they reappear. We can add it back on.
Do I have a second?
This is Eileen. I second that motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried.
Yeah, got one off there.
There you go.
I'm sure it'll
Progress.
come back eventually.
Okay, we got our minutes.
The special meeting minutes are not on the website. The public hearing minutes are out there twice.
Yeah, I told her. She didn't change it
Okay.
yet.
So
On
we
the
will
special-
skip 6A and carry that over to the next meeting. So 6B, public hearing minutes.
Why don't we just push all these to the Monday meeting, and we'll just do them quick then, so it's all fixed and everything.
Oh, because I have a
Okay.
change. I have a change to make to one of them so David can know that I've been paying attention. One of them says, David Jeremiah Jr. made a motion to accept site plan approval, and the word should be receive. Right, David?
No, it
Absolutely.
should be to approve now.
Was that an approval or was that?
Oh.
That probably was approved. Should have been
Approval, 'cause
approved.
Received is usually when you.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was an approve. You're right. So that should be approved. We approve that.
Which one is that for?
The
The
special
19th?
minutes from the 19th.
Meetings you approve, yeah.
So, and that's the one that was dated the 12th?
No, it's dated the 19th.
No,
Oh,
Rob,
okay,
I
nice.
don't know, one of the minutes
From the
she
19th.
posted she copied the same one for both of them.
Yeah, there's
Right.
two
Okay.
out there.
Well, I mean, given that we're where we at with that, why don't we just at least take action on 6C?
Mhm.
It's not
Okay.
going to take very long. You know.
And there's not really much in the anyways in those minutes because it's just a public hearing. There's no motions technically. You're right,
Do
Dave.
you, is there, yeah, the public hearing. But anyway, we'll do 6C first. If we have the others, I'd like to get them out of the way too.
Mhm.
Do I have a motion to approve those as amended for August 19th?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, this is Eileen. I just want to make sure that after your email, Dave, Wiggs, that we're going to stop referring, even in the meeting minutes, as the plan, OCAD. Is that correct? Or,
I would prefer that, so if somebody reads it, they don't look at who's poking around here.
and all future minutes and agendas should not even say POCAD, it should just say Plan of Conservation and Development for the plan.
Well, basically, I think I forwarded Jocelyn's response. She says she would, she wants to shorten it, she uses town plan.
Mhm.
Or the town plan of conservation and development. So I'll accept town plan or town plan of conservation development. I just figured I'd let her be the authority.
Right, I just want to make sure stop using just even the term in the agendas, that's all.
Yes, I would appreciate that. Please.
POCAD. I like POCAD.
Yeah, but it's nice to be jingo-y and lingo-y and like that.
POCAD. POCAD.
Sleek. But
My only comment I had, but other than that,
so I just think that I defer to 7A on our agenda, and I think when you start throwing around POCAD, I think that makes it more difficult for other people to get involved. And we want to make it easier, not harder.
Right.
Okay.
That's where I'm coming from anyway.
Mhm.
So I will call the question on 6C. All those in favor of approving the minutes of August 19th?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And Bill, since you're new, I will let you know that you need to abstain. Oh, no, you were not at that meeting, were you? Did you actually attend that meeting?
Last meeting was,
The 19th, yes.
that was the meeting he joined.
that's the meeting joining.
Well, we'll let you vote on it because you heard it, so you can determine whether those things are reasonably accurate or not. So take that back. You do not have to abstain. The reason why one would abstain from approving minutes is if they weren't at the meeting, and you were there, so I stand corrected. It's approved unanimously with Bill Ailes
Ailes.
voting yes. We'll just call you Bales.
Ailes. Gosh.
I like Wales better.
I'll second that.
And so we'll carry over, we don't have A and B complete, so we'll carry that over to our next meeting. I haven't had a chance to check it myself, so.
No
Be honest
problem.
Thank you, Tony. And thank you, Veronica, for getting us right with the 19th. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome.
And 7A, how can we get the community more involved in our commission? How far did we get on that?
Feel
We
like
got
Eileen-
one.
Bill. That's how far we got with that bill.
That's right, we got Bill.
It would be helpful if maybe they use the sign in the center of town to try and get membership for each of the boards that there are vacancies. I mean, they put a boat parade there. Why can't they put that they're looking for volunteers for all the different committees?
I think the Facebook should be more. I like the Facebook thing.
The Facebook was helpful.
Just gotta be
But-
pushed more.
I will make a comment again. This is Eileen. I reached out at the beginning of last week to join another board, and I was told that they would send that information to the first selectman, and I have not heard. It's been over a week.
Well,
I don't know what these boards are thinking.
It was the economic development, because I figured it would be helpful to have
Oh.
planning.
it's been right.
It says 2 members,
I would
and the
volunteer
clerk
for that.
said that she would give that information to the first selectman, and I have not heard anything yet.
I mean, they haven't met in like 2 years probably.
Well, the rules for our board are, and I think most elected boards are, that if we have a vacancy, we can fill it. And we have like 30 days from when the vacancy occurs to fill it ourselves. And after that, the Board of Selectmen can appoint people for us. And, but that doesn't mean even at that point, we can't appoint somebody ourselves anyway. We don't have to wait. You know, after that 30-day period, we're not powerless to add people. We just also could have somebody else add
Right.
somebody to the
So
board
the
with our
the
say-so.
point why I said that was if people are reaching out through the town's website to say that they are interested in volunteering, is that information getting to the appropriate chair people? If it's going
Yeah.
through a person, I want to make sure that we're not missing people who may have raised their hand and say, yes, I want to join, if the message isn't being given to any of the chair people of the committees.
And the only other comment I have on that in general is that I did actually, I'm going to see if I can find this email. I got an email from Tom White. Board of Selectmen. I will show you my screen. This primitive program I use to manage my email. Let me get back to the Zoom.
Talking about the guy who showed interest on the board or no?
Yeah, I got an email.
Oh, did he email you back?
No, he did not email it. At least I have not seen something
He didn't
back.
email me back either.
Basically, I received this email from, hello, Tom, I'm interested in perhaps joining the Planning and Zoning Commission or the Economic Development Commission. I'd like to know more about each before I decide on which I could best serve or have time for. Please feel free to have either commission leader contact me, or if you can give me any insight, that would be great. Ron Schaefer. And so I did respond to him. I said, thank you for your interest in Morris Planning and Zoning Commission. We've only meet twice a month on the first Wednesday and second Monday. Right now we haven't added a meeting. Meetings. Let me put this over because it's behind the pictures of everybody. A meeting on 9/23 and 10/21 to work with on the town plan and conservation development. Then I went into town plan and conservation development and asked him to join our Zoom meeting and said that Tony was copying this message and send you the meeting information. So
Did he get the meeting information?
why don't you send him, if you did, just send him the information for the 14th in case you can get him to bite.
Sure.
Please.
That sounds good to me.
Perfect.
I know that Veronica,
You know what?
talked about potentially going to some town events to sit there. Has anybody reached out to any other chair people on other boards to see if they have any interest in doing a joint venture to get volunteers?
I have not had a chance to do that.
If I draft something for you, David, could you then send it out to them, or do you want me to
If
contact
you
them?
send me something, I will send it out.
What are the boards looking?
Fun to do that
What was that,
and get it
David?
out within.
What are the boards looking for?
Hold on, I can tell you right
That's
now.
Eileen's on top of this stuff. I know.
See here, the vacancies are inland wetlands. There's two, regular and an alternate. Planning and zoning, it says 2 active members, 2 alternates. Ordinance committee, sewer authority or alternate, ZBA alternate, and economic development commission, 2 vacancies.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's plenty of room for that.
I mean,
Growth.
Eileen, I think that the wetlands would be a good one for you to do rather than the Economic Development Commission.
I
Because
also like
wetlands
to
act-
too, and economic development is an interest of mine.
No, I'm just saying in terms of like, they don't really meet at all, so it's,
Well,
They
the-
should be meeting.
why
the whole
aren't they
point.
meeting? Exactly.
I would like to
So,
be on it. I think they
Because
should.
then to us to- Go on, Veronica.
Oh, I'm just saying, I sometimes think that economic development should work hand in hand with planning and zoning a little more. And whoever the chairman is, I know it's Ben, needs to either get the people that are on the board and get meeting again, or ask them if they want to resign and get new people on the board and get going.
Well, I've said it before many times, and I'll say it again, that I wish we had somebody to do some kind of analysis of economic development in Morris on the level of what was done for open space, or even half of that. You know, just some insight into what we have, you know, because, you know, with what's happened over the past few years, and we also have to pay attention to what we approved for Ken Watson, because if he's not developing that property, I think there's a time limit on how long he has to develop that.
which
And
I remember that was before.
that it's on South Street. He owns, I think he's next door to the Historical Society.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a little strip of land.
And
That was right before
he has
the
a
board, when I
site
was still
plan
the public.
approval. However, he's got I believe, I have to double check the state statutes on it, and COVID may have some impact on that too.
yeah, Dave, I mean, I don't remember when that was, but don't you have 5 years when you got a site plan approval, or?
Something like that, yeah.
I'm pretty sure, because when we were discussing with Steve Byrne about the special exception at the accessory apartment, that's what he kind of said too.
Yeah, because we have to pay attention to that, because you know, and maybe even when you should make note of when that was approved, and
I'll try to find it.
when it gets to be like when 3 years have gone by, we should probably inform him that he does have a clock on his approval. That it's not, you know, he's got and I believe he can get extensions, but he's got to apply to us for that. He doesn't get it automatically.
Yeah, I think he'd have to ask for an extension. I think it's another 5 years, actually, from what I remember, I think, from the
I think
the
you're right.
class.
It makes sense. But I think we need to do two things. One is we need to confirm the right numbers, and we want to, it's not up to us to do it, but it doesn't hurt if we're proactive and say, hey, it's not like not like we're trying to let him go by the wayside.
No, of course.
So Eileen, send me that letter and I will try to chase people down, please.
I think maybe just if we do like a joint venture between all the different committees, that maybe they might have other ideas of what we can do to get more participation. We could even, I was even thinking maybe using the town gym after COVID is over, instead of doing a job, how they have job fairs, we can have a volunteer fair where a member from every single commission there is would be there with information, and the town can come and learn what each commission does so that they can understand what their commissioners do, and if anybody's interested, they can volunteer at that time. But it could even just be used as a learning resource for people.
Understand?
Yeah, good.
I feel like now, because of the
Could
time
have
zone, it'd be hard, but maybe when this whole thing settles down, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
We'll just
I
keep going
would fill
along
up.
with.
I do my part. But
You
send me that letter and that'll be my trigger to get myself in gear.
All right, no problem. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Eileen. And I guess we kind of covered 7B for the most part under town planning, conservation and development.
Just in reference to 7B, this is Eileen. The time has expired now for the survey.
Oh,
So
yeah.
From the town Morris website. And
That's right.
Is it-
That's pretty cool.
and we may want to consider sending or maybe posting on the town website like a thank you or something to say we received X number of responses, which is so many %. Or if we want to actually post the survey responses as well.
Yeah, I wish Jocelyn was still here
Oh,
because
I
she
think-
has the.
No, they're on the agenda.
Right, but that doesn't necessarily mean that people know to go to the agenda to read
No,
them. It might
I
be
know. I'm just saying that we have some results.
Oh, we do have the latest.
Yep, 230, I think
Yes,
230.
attached to the agenda. Well, we could ask Tom to post, thank you for filling out the survey, and to see the results, click on planning and zoning and
213.
agenda, and
I mean, I know we put a limit, but they can, whoever wants to can still do it, I guess.
well, no,
Yeah, the form's still out there. If you can find
plan
it.
on survey responses. So we're finalizing the plan, so we have to stop the survey. In my opinion.
well, I don't know, because we haven't had a public forum yet, it's not really a final draft, so we could take more input, maybe,
That's what I'm
no?
saying. I think we should take
Let's
more input
go on the
until at least
website.
the 14th.
We're gonna take input at a forum, so I don't know. I mean,
Well,
213 people out of 35. I think that's pretty sad that only those few people have filled it out.
Yeah, but if you look, Roxbury, when I saw the thing, they didn't have that many responses. We have a good amount, I feel like.
Apathy.
Well, I sent it to 1,000 addresses. So we'll just say we got a fifth of them.
Did it go to the zip code in the because I saw one of the comments was something that, to send stuff to Lakeside zip code because people didn't receive it.
When I went to the post office, the guy said he would send them even there, he said.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Is it possible, Tony, for you to save a couple of them for me? My sister wants one for her portfolio.
The postcards?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Design.
another 500. Don't worry, there's plenty.
That was all that I had on that agenda.
So, Tony, you're saying the survey will be up there till the 14th?
Yeah, I mean, it's still there. You can still submit it, so why don't we
Yes, it
just
is.
let them do it until, then we'll take it off eventually. But for now, I know we just.
And speaking of were you looking at the vacancies for, on the website? Eileen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, obviously somebody is paying attention, at least maybe half listening to you, and that wasn't up there a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
It was put out there August,
Good. Nice.
the vacancies.
Squeaky
August
wheel. Perfect.
But, so, does somebody want, unless we're gonna keep the postcard up, well, what do we want to do on the postcard? Somebody give me a motion, please.
I make a motion to leave the survey up until such time as we really need to shut it down when we get a final draft going.
I'll second that.
Any additional discussion? I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
So David, aye or nay?
That's it, aye.
They said aye, I'm sorry. This time. Oh, good. Okay, motion carried. 3-1.
I'll make sure I mark it.
Yes. I just wanted to make sure I knew what the votes were, because if it was a tie, I would probably have
No.
voted in this one.
No problem.
Can I make a
Okay.
motion to move 7C to our next meeting?
I mean, we don't have to
I'm just
talk
gonna
about
talk-
it. We can just move past it.
Just talk about it
Yeah.
next time.
Well, I just look at the openings that we have on planning and zoning, before we go by it, is that, we would still have one vacancy if we had 7 full members and 2 alternates, just an FYI. 7D, proposal for future Zooming meetings and set up a town hall.
So I talked to Tom a little bit, but he said that basically this is the last meeting. It's going to be on his account. I'm gonna get an account for the Planning and Zoning Commission starting for next week.
Excellent.
Did you,
Excellent.
Tony, this is Eileen, did you get the proposal I typed up for that with the cost and everything?
Yep.
Okay.
I think we're
Good.
good on that.
Excellent.
And
And
how
then-
many,
Thank you,
License
Tony and Vern and Eileen.
Yes.
How many licenses do we have?
we're going to have?
Whatever we can get for the 150.
So that would only give us one host license, and to have an additional one, I think is an additional, let me, oh, it's on my laptop. I don't have that, but we only have one, then it should be shared with other people than just you, Tom, in case you're unable to make a meeting.
Yeah, no. I mean, what I'll do is basically I'll create the account, and then we'll all have the password and stuff, so it's not a big deal.
So anybody can log in and,
Exactly, start the meeting. Exactly, it'll be
Yeah.
instead of Tona Dilly's account, it'll be Morris Planning and Zoning.
All right.
That way, everyone will have it.
I would suggest that we don't put the host password on the agenda, because then otherwise it could be compromised by the public having access to that, and they may be able to add their own accounts or use that account for something else.
Yeah, no,
So
it'll just be
It'll be
between.
privately held amongst the appropriate people on the board.
Right, and I would say whoever it is given to, it should be stated in the email or however that it should be only used for planning and zoning and not used for personal reasons, because if we're all gonna have access to it, there's nothing stopping any of us from using it for other uses.
But I would also feel that at a minimum, that anybody who could run it, who's chartered by virtue of their officer status or their employment, chartered to run a meeting, not that Tony's chartered to run a meeting, but he's chartered, he could be the person that would let somebody who's not chairman, vice chairman, and maybe we consider secretary also having the right to do it. It's like Eileen's chairman when I'm not chairman, sort of thing. And
Exactly.
we all should have the ability to schedule to open the Zoom meeting, because we could potentially be sharing that meeting. And if somebody else needs to do something, Tony would be the appropriate person to make that happen at a
Right.
minimum. And if we want to go beyond that, I wouldn't stand in the way. Is Bob still on the board, Tony? McIntosh?
Technically, yes.
Okay.
I still reach out to him occasionally for advice in case I need anything, but
Well, especially on the history. Please copy me on any emails so I know what's going on and I hear what he has to say.
yep.
If you call him, there's no way to copy me, so that's okay too. But
No problem.
so excellent. That's good stuff. Eileen and Tony, thank you for your work here. This is a good step forward.
Yep.
Mm. And it says set up at town hall. Do we have a set up at town hall where if we have some people in the building and then we can have some people on a screen be zooming?
I don't know how we would do that yet. I have to look into it, but Tom said if we figure something out, we can do it.
So,
Well, it's just a matter of a laptop being set up.
right, part of the proposal I
Okay.
sent, which if it pleases the board, David, I can send it out to all commission members, where it talks about what software and hardware we would need in order to host Zoom meetings at the town hall.
Could you send it out to all of us and we can discuss it in more detail at the next meeting?
Thank you,
And
Ida.
it-
That's awesome.
What was that, Jeremiah? David? Jeremiah?
What was my nickname? What if we have what is the projector there, right?
Yep.
So we should be able to hook right up in his Wi-Fi.
Yep.
Right, but would we need a laptop? We would need the software of Zoom. If we need a laptop, we may potentially need Microsoft products for meeting minutes, antivirus software, and the ability to block potentially harmful websites from anybody using that laptop, for instance, Facebook or Instagram. If we have a projector, projection screen, and potentially a microphone or speakers so that anybody who calls in can hear the meeting.
It has to all be recorded.
Exactly. So
Well, the
that was
recording would handle through
out, but I can
Zoom.
send it out to all the committee members, no problem.
Is
And
there
my
a
other-
laptop there, Tony? We don't have a laptop down there, right, in the office?
Nope.
Right, so we would potentially need that. And also, if we're spending all of this money, it's possible that other committees may want to use it, and we may be able to lease it out to them, was what my thought process was, that we could rent it to them, and then we'll get back our money that we spent on the, but I don't know if
Well,
it's our charter, if we can do
the
that or
other
not.
side of the coin is, should the town buy one, and that's just available for meetings, and that's
Right.
part of the paraphernalia for meetings.
I agree.
So I
Honestly, I think we should,
will out,
because if you get somebody using it that's not technologically savvy and they mess the thing up, we lose,
I was
I don't
just
think we should share.
worry for us first.
Understand?
Yeah.
And I mean, I have a home laptop we can use in the beginning. Just,
Yeah, that's, you know, true. I think that's
Yeah,
maybe
keep
how we
drop-
start on this anyway. And well, I think the other thing, worst case scenario, we, budget for it in next year's plan, or see if there's
Yeah.
some way we can finagle our current budget if we're not gonna use any P and Z clerical, is putting money from that towards a laptop and the necessary software and equipment.
Well, do we need a laptop, or can we get a desktop like they do at the schools, like the smart boards? They have a little. You can probably put it right in the kitchen if you have to, and wheel it out and plug it in. Is a desktop a little
Yeah,
better?
but we'll have it in the zoning enforcement office and just take it out for meetings.
Yeah,
That's conceivable.
just get a desktop in it, you know. What's it? What are the
That's definitely
we can,
also-
like I said, it doesn't have to. We can continue discussing this.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
figure it
All
out.
the David Jeremiah Jr., David Wigg, Veronica, Katie, Bill, Bob McIntosh, Del Knox, Planning and Zoning, and Tony. That's everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Make it sure. Okay.
You got Bill?
I got Bill.
So the other boards are just using the room anyway, right? They're just social distancing.
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but I haven't been down there for a while. Tony goes there.
I do go there. I know that they've been doing meetings in the wetlands in there, but they only have members, so.
They're not doing nothing.
Sewer Authority, we've had there as well.
Was that?
The Sewer Authority.
Oh, cool. So this will be on the agenda, for the 14th,
Okay.
and we can pick it up then.
Sounds good.
And I thank you very much, Tony, for your efforts in getting that report together and the list of permits granted. That's very valuable.
Yeah,
Did everybody see that?
I won't do that. And then from now on, I'll just put in the ZE report, the ones for the month, so we can just keep track of it easier rather than give you the whole list every, you know?
Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
Tony,
That's
can you
that's good.
change one thing for me on your permit list, your list issued?
Sure.
The second to the last one, you put Ben Peletsky Sage approved. Can you take out his name and just put the address?
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. Sorry. It just sometimes what happens is because all the other ones have addresses, and for him it's Peletsky Farm, and instead of putting 21 Higbee, I always put Ben for some reason. You're right. No, you're right.
For our
Doesn't matter
record,
who it is.
just I think,
Yeah, I appreciate it. Good catch, Veronica.
Yeah, no, I forgot about that because it doesn't matter whose name it is. It's all about the address.
No need for excuses. There's no issue. We'll just make it right going forward. That's all that matters.
And Ben will be at the meeting the 14th. Talk about his
Great.
stage.
Because I think that technically, basically, this is because I had brought up the fact that that's a commercial site, and technically, when you change uses at a commercial site or do that or change configuration, that's adjustment to the site plan, and we should see the adjustment and vote on it.
Yeah.
By no means saying there's anything wrong with it, but that doesn't mean it deserves a rubber stamp for that matter either. So that we should go through that process, and we need to do that, whether it's David
Yes.
Peletsky, what's his name? Skilton,
Yeah.
Richard Skilton, David Robert, or whomever.
yeah, I mean, we have to definitely research what we've got going on over at South Farms and put it on our next agenda because, you know, not just Kevin Derone, I've had people who would like to remain nameless who have brought it up and they're not happy.
Before we get off a lot of other business. Oh, no, we're on communications, Bill. This is where we want to be. Am I still presenting?
Sure.
Yeah, good. That's
Yes, we can
perfectly good. That is perfectly good.
Heard your video, David, I will say.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Yes, we can see your screen, but it is hard to read the email. So if you're pulling up Kevin Durone's email, if you can maybe make it bigger, please.
I'll see what I can do. Let me see it. Make everything. Blow it up to the max.
Uh, That's the
Anyway,
Jocelyn email.
I don't have any way to change the font.
That's Jocelyn.
I
That's
think it's
Jocelyn.
more
Actually,
you need to zoom in more than anything, I think.
Yeah, I think I can do something about that. I can view this in a web browser. I know that's worse, and that's still not better, but where is that?
Well, find his email first, and we'll go from there.
Oh, this is the wrong email. This is Jocelyn. I don't want Jocelyn. Because I can take that's the wrong email. I'm sorry.
He sent it today at 1:02 p.m. If that helps. So they sent it to me as well.
I
Is
got it
this in a
too.
font that's easier to read? Or
Yes,
do you need me to blow?
No, I have a hard copy anyway, so I'm good.
So do you want somebody to read it? Or everyone just going to read it themselves?
Good morning. As I will not be able to participate in tonight's Zoom meeting, I would like to submit the following questions via email. These questions concern the events facility at South Farm. Number one, was this facility approved by P&Z? And if so, when? I see no mention of it in any of the agendas. And the answer to that is no. But I may couch that a little bit in any response I said based on, I got to look at his current approval. Was there a public hearing on this? And if so, when? That again is no. And I don't know that we'll necessarily have a public hearing on it, but we may need to if it's.
Shouldn't there have been one, Dave?
What's that?
Shouldn't there have been we didn't need to do one?
Well, the thing is, if it's, I think it's basically it's a site plan approval situation.
Okay.
But and site plans don't require public hearings.
But it's music and it's a stage, right? So it's an event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost thinking, is it a change of use? How is I remember I was only a member of the public, but I thought during the moratorium, when he got his approval, it was like for the restaurant stuff and the weddings. I heard nothing about concerts.
Yeah, the music had to be a certain thing because I know even at the restaurants we had a lot of festivals. It was crazy. Can't be past 10 or 8 or 9.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So music at a wedding is different than having a concert, and I, for one, like to be explained to people.
I mean, I just
how the
want
heck-
to mention, I'm pretty sure they've had concerts previously the last couple of years there.
Not
Oh, he's
outside.
had
Yeah, but
concerts.
they didn't.
Yes, they were outside.
Stage, so people are more aware of it now.
No, I'm just saying there was concerts, so we can't say there wasn't any. There has been music on South Farms for the past 2 or 3 years, and there has been events there the last 2 or 3 years. Not just weddings, including socials and other stuff. Just saying. It might not matter, just saying.
People have been.
Yeah, but not this.
Doesn't bother me, but
Yeah, he's right. He's good.
hear from a few people about the noise.
Well, I can hear it from my house anyway, because I'm like quarter mile down from the property line.
And
Well,
that
Higby
goes-
Road.
Kevin's, that's number 3. Were there any noise restrictions put on this, similar to that what was imposed on the barn for live music?
Yep.
I just want to mention one thing about noise. in 2016, and I remember I mentioned this at the barn when they were talking about the barn. A few years ago, I think that Torrington Area Health removed a noise restriction. What do you call it? Ordinance. I don't think they even have one anymore.
I don't. Dave
Well,
Roberts
why
brought
don't you look into that? Tony, if
No,
that's
I
the
know,
case,
but
you
that was
should look
old.
into that. Could you confirm that and not just think you remembered? Get a
One second,
letter
I'll-
from Torrington.
If you give me
Maybe even get a
1
letter
second,
from
I'll find it right
Torrington.
now.
Either get something in writing that, or get a letter from Torrington Area Health if you don't have anything written up. We
Dave,
need
1
something that
second.
does this, I think, and I
Dave, can you make me a
understand.
co-host? Can you make me a co-host?
All right, let's
Do we
get
have
through this
any
letter and I'll let you.
Is there like a noise ordinance? I'm trying to look through the ordinance list.
No, there's no noise ordinance in town.
No.
That I know.
So yeah.
No,
if
I
we get
will
this,
make you a
and then-
concern.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had Dave. Wasn't something that had to be at the when it was the Frog about acoustics, and I remember this whole
Right.
thing you guys brought up on that property.
Yeah, but Dave, they just repealed this in 2016, so the Lazy Frog was before then, I think. So maybe that's why you had to go through the extra scrutiny.
So they did drop all the noise ordinances.
Yeah, like I said, after Dave's done, I'll read you the exact thing on the Torrington Area Health website.
All right, cool. Is it our? It's not in our regulations, right?
I don't think we have a noise order. Well, I don't know. Dave would know better.
No, we don't have a noise ordinance, at least as of when we last dealt with noise, which was
With the front.
some motorbikes running on in the front of Lenny Burns's house and Lou Cottonar's house. He and his kids were riding around on motorbikes. We had Torrington Area Health District there, and measuring the noise at the other side of the just over the property line, sort of thing, to make sure determine if they're too loud or not, whatever. So, and then why would neighboring residents not aware this? And then the sad answer to number 4 is that even if there was a public hearing on this, a site plan on this, or a public hearing, he wouldn't have known about it because he's not an adjoining landowner at 212 Watertown Street. But
That is true.
Kids gotta go. Yeah.
and number 5, it's it's a mixed use property, and that's the nature of farming in these days. And
So
I mean,
it
go
should
on.
be tax farm as opposed to commercial.
He's both, right?
Yes,
That's
he's
not.
both.
Anyways, I just want to say I don't think that's not really our jurisdiction. That's more of an assessor question. It's not
That's
really
true.
up to us if he's taxed properly or not.
So I'll let you show your stuff. I stopped sharing.
Sure. Just take 2 seconds. You got to make me a host first, Dave.
Oh, you weren't a host. Okay. Sorry, Tony.
No, it's okay. I don't know why my microphone is so terrible.
We've had microphone problems today in general.
All right.
And I think I've had problems too, according to what people said.
All right, so I'll read it.
And
Let me see if I can. How about now? Better? So, at the January 21st, 2016 meeting of the Board of Health, it was voted unanimously to repeal the Torrington Area Health District Noise Control Regulation. Complaints of excessive noise can be made to the TEHD, and each will be evaluated and acted upon through the use of other existing regulations and statutes. Please understand that nuisance types of noise, such as chainsaws, lawnmowers, and all-terrain vehicles, are not specifically regulated. These are considered temporary noises that eventually resolve themselves. Furthermore, neither the THD nor the state of Connecticut regulate noise generated by the otherwise lawful discharge of firearms. The THD will assist residents of member towns with permanent stationary sources of noise that can be measured, controlled, and reduced using modern acoustical engineering.
So
they could be measured though. Permanent stationary sources of noise can be measured, controlled, and reduced. Yeah.
Well, it's more like
Yeah.
Kevin has to complain to them about the noise, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point. Noise regulations have to go through Torrington Area Health.
And also exactly what counts as a permit stationary noise.
I mean,
What
for
is that?
example, yeah, I agree. It's like, for example, I guess the stage that Ben uses, actually, when the event, whatever starts, it rolls in, and then when the event's over, they take it out. And so it's like Eileen's saying, it's kind of like a temporary thing, as in it's not going on 24 hours a day.
Well, no, I'm not saying it's temporary. I'm just asking, I don't know what the definition of that is. So I can't say one way or the other if the stage is considered permanent or not.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but if there's no noise ordinance in town, there isn't. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
there is, exactly.
But we do not have a noise ordinance now. Because whenever we've had to deal with noise, we have not referred to an ordinance. Even when we dealt with the barn, that was not referring to any noise ordinance in town. It's
Hang on.
referring to.
I am looking through the ordinances. There's something here on page 61. Reasonable noise. Amplifiers in the town of Morris featuring either or both musical and sound effects shall be lowered to a reasonable volume at the hour of 11 p.m. prevailing time.
Right.
This ordinance shall not affect vehicles on an emergency call. Any person or persons who shall violate the provisions of this ordinance shall be fined not more than $25 for each offense, effective 7/15/1965.
Wow, I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Um,
that's after 11.
Right.
So
Yes.
I do want
And
to say, as
he-
somebody who comes from a musical family, musical household, other towns have tried to enforce ordinances and they end up being sued by the musical talent because it is their constitutional right. It violates their constitutional right. So if it is something that the town wants to pursue, it would be difficult to go after. That's all I want to say. That's all.
I agree with
And
you.
I
Thanks at
also,
11 o'clock.
Someone stands on a stage and starts
11
spouting political speech. I don't think you can bother them.
Musical performances are protected.
Of course.
Okay,
Yes, I am.
but so
And-
also
Yeah,
the
go
right
ahead, Veronica.
people want to go to 11 o'clock at night. I don't think that's too much to ask. I would have made it 10.
That was all.
And
The funny
actually-
thing is, that's also 1965. And I think it needs an update.
Well,
And
it's
actually,
Right now.
I know.
the law we have.
Go on, Veronica.
Huh?
And that, are you finished, Veronica? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm just saying, even though it was effective in 1965 and it may be 2020, this law is still on the books. So unless the
Right.
ordinance committee changes it, this is the way it is. And by 11 o'clock, he needs to make it a reasonable volume so people can go to bed.
And
I think he does that with the
I
end.
can
He
attest,
does pretty good with that.
I can attest to the fact that his events end somewhere between 9 and 11 o'clock, 9, 10 o'clock. Actually.
Mhm.
For example, actually, my son and his wife went to the comedy show on Sunday, and that got out. And actually, that's why I wrote Tony and said, you know, we never approved anything on this. We need to look at this. And that's why we've already been talking. It's not because of complaints. It took me a month. My wife was saying, oh, he's going to be holding these concerts over here. And I didn't even think of the fact that, hey, he's putting up a stage, because I knew he was putting up a stage too. And I didn't even think about it. But one question, Tony, did he come in for a permit for a stage before, or did that just happen now?
That was over a month ago.
Okay, so he did come back then. So that's something I can add to the list. And it's just,
Yeah, he didn't really start doing those events till kind of after he came talk to me, because he needed to get approval
Right,
from
right.
health and from the building too. It wasn't just,
So my question is, based on the land use permit that he currently has, is he allowed to have that stage without having to have had any type of a special exception made?
Well, there's no special exception for what he's doing. I don't think technically that, well, actually, I will double check the regulations because I have not looked at them for this yet. I just,
It might be a use of right because it's in the commercial
No.
district, maybe.
Well, I'm curious,
No.
I see that Tony approved the permit, but I would have thought something like that would have required some discussion with the commission.
bear with me a second. Let me-
Well, that's all one property, right, Dave? He's got that whole one big property, right?
Yes, he's got 90 plus acres,
What's that?
92 acres or so.
What's that, Tony? Is it two different addresses? All one property?
21 Higby Road is a 90-acre parcel, 92-acre parcel, if I remember right.
Okay. So yeah, he's down for something for the event hall, right?
Yes.
And that's on the same
And
property.
the question, and I don't
That
think
was
you could
before my
argue
time.
that.
So
I don't think you could argue. I don't think it's fair to argue that this is an accessory to the barn use. That I tend to feel that's a stretch.
no, it's part of all of it, right?
And where's the stage actually physically located? Is it actually located in the commercial district, Tony?
I think, yeah, pretty sure, yes.
He's all firm. He's all firm.
You know the property that has all of the, it's directly across the street from the house that has all of the go-karts.
Top of the,
Okay.
top of the hill. Yeah, it's all the way up
Yeah,
there.
it's
Okay,
basically, I
okay.
guess the stage is like not near the property line, but, and then the people sit on the hill, I guess. I think that's the idea.
Yeah, it's I thought it was like along Route 63 almost.
Yeah, so
basically.
right back
Backs
up.
up to Route 63.
So if you live across the road,
That's what my son said.
But I believe the stage isn't facing 63. I believe it's
Oh, no.
facing
No,
away.
it's facing the hill.
No.
The hill.
Oh, it is
It's
facing.
facing the hill. Its back is to Route 63 is the
Yeah.
impression I had.
yeah, you can see it lit up at night. Yeah. So if his whole property is down for events, then he could do what he wants up further, right?
I mean, it's like, there's a lot of uses in that district, so he can do
I'm looking at them right now, trying to figure out if.
some things you don't need special exceptions, but you know, you should really open there, a nice printing press. Nice printing press. That's allowed in the regulations. That'd be a good idea. Because, you know, we live in the 1700s now, you know?
All right,
I
so
can't.
special exception use in
Wait, wait,
outdoor
wait.
dining is a
Second.
special exception.
Before we drop this, if I can, hopefully my Acrobat will stop acting up.
David, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I bear with me a second. I'm trying to. Okay, good. It finally came back. If you bear with me, I'm bringing up the zoning regulations, and we can actually look at the CB zone
That's what I'm doing right now.
and
Farm use and related activities.
Could you let me share my screen?
Oh, Dave, we can both be hosts. Jeez, Dave. Go
Well, I
ahead.
made you host. Thank you.
Yeah, but you should have made me a co-host so that way you don't
Co-host.
have.
Okay.
Well,
Oh,
theaters are a lot.
so these are the ones that are specifically listed.
So it's everything that's allowed in the CA zone plus the stuff in the CB zone.
Yeah, CB is more intensive than the CA, by the way.
Right.
Right.
And
Well, in the
so
CA
that,
zone, theaters would classify as music, you think? Or, oh no, it says for indoor motion picture production or dramatic or musical productions. Oh wait, musical production. Is that what he has? Would you consider a concert a musical production?
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, but
And
how
it's
is
allowed in the CA zone, in the CB
so it's
zone.
allowed in the CB zone.
Like I said, he's been doing, I feel like, some form of music for the last couple of years, not just recently.
Right.
Yeah, but not up in the field though.
No, but I mean, I guess, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it matters though.
Oh, he's an event hall. I mean, he should be able to do that stuff. But I believe when I talked to him, he had strict guidelines where he had to be shut up by a certain time, lights off. He had time schedules.
I think, yeah, but I think he knows that stuff. That's
Yeah.
why, like Dave said, it doesn't seem like he goes till 1 a.m. You know, he kind of knows, like 11 o'clock. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
but
got
it,
neighbors across the street now, so.
it was, and I'm told that he's bang, bang, bang. He gets everybody out there really quick.
Yeah.
Plus, you knew the zoning,
Right,
the CEO's, the chairman of zoning's son was there, and he was get extra right this time because. But,
The regulation actually says theaters for indoor motion picture projection or dramatic or musical production. So some picky person could say he's supposed to be doing it indoors.
When was that
Correct.
written? Yeah, probably no.
Well,
Outdated.
Dave, I don't know when they've changed the uses, the regulations. You gotta ask Dave. When was the last time, Dave, you guys changed the uses in these places?
if you read what I've written in the economic development section, it's like this stuff is, this is as old time.
Well, no, I just see the
And
printing
time
press thing and I
started
just
in
have a laugh.
Time started in 1978 for zoning.
They didn't have outdoor projectors.
Oh, they had outdoor projectors years before that. I
So
mean,
would that be a special exception now because it's outdoor instead of indoor according to our regulations?
Yeah, but Veronica, again, I've been saying he's been doing concerts for many years, so I don't know. That's what I'm conflicted
so
about.
you can claim that it's a pre-existing non-conforming use too.
Us to be able to answer people because they're going to say, according to your regulations, this is what it says. We have to do what the regulations say, not what we feel.
You're
Yeah,
right.
but I'm not saying something we feel. I'm just saying that he's been doing concerts for 3-4 years at least, and this is the first time I feel like we've received a complaint. You know?
And
No,
we've
it's not the
received
first time. I don't think that's the first time we received a complaint on that. It's the first time we received a formal complaint, but I think we've received questions about his music when he had at least I received some questions about his music like a year or two ago when he had something that ran, you know, I think it was even on a Sunday too. But the one comment I would make, when you say it says theaters for indoor motion projection. Let me say that again because I keep hearing echoes.
It's echoing
From what?
Veronica's phone keeps lighting up, so it's echoing from her.
Oh. But basically, it says theaters for indoor motion picture projection or theaters for dramatic. You read that directly. It says theaters for indoor motion picture projection or theaters for dramatic productions or theaters for musical productions. So the only thing that indoor applies is indoor motion picture projection.
I think it's okay. It's an event. Theatrical.
That's
But
not what mine says.
What's that?
Theaters for indoor motion picture projection or dramatic or musical productions. It does, that's what it says.
Right.
Theaters is only mentioned once.
But if you think of it as kind of like mathematics, where when you have or following theaters for this, theaters for dramatic, or theaters for musical productions.
What page
That's
you-
what it's saying. You take, if you take the theaters for, and you lump, instead of saying theaters for motion picture projections or theaters for dramatic productions or theaters for musical productions, it says theaters for indoor motion picture projection or dramatic or musical productions. It's kind of like you have a parentheses around indoor. If you think of mathematics, you have an illogical condition. You have parentheses around indoor motion picture projection and dramatic or musical projection, and that parentheses is like multiplication kind of thing, and it's like that would apply to dramatic and apply to musical productions. That's how it's written. You know what I'm trying to say?
It applies to motion picture projection.
Yes, that's what I would argue potentially, or at least that's what he could argue that says. The other point is that it mentions indoor period, and the whole point of mentioning indoor motion picture projection is that indoor motion picture projection was actually was just as common outdoors as it was indoors years ago. You know, you go to a drive-in. Drive-ins were very popular in the 50s and 60s. Not so much, you know,
So there
90s.
Yeah, I'm going on Saturday to see Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I know. That's back with COVID. But so you could also say that the theaters, they are specifying indoor motion picture projection because they specifically don't want a drive-in theater,
Okay.
which could also be construed that you don't want dramatic outdoors or music outdoors. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't say that, but the only thing, it just, I guess, it just depends upon where the indoor just applies to motion picture projection because they don't want drive-ins, or whether it applies to dramatic and musical productions. That's,
So very gray.
it's a matter of interpretation.
It's very gray. I'm even reading something from 7/15/1965 that says reasonable noise amplifiers in the town of Morris featuring either or both musical and sound effects shall be lowered to a reasonable volume at the hour 11 p.m. So
Right, that's
what is a reasonable? I mean, do we need to assign a decibel level?
So I was going to say, is there a level for reasonable?
Yeah, how do you define reasonable? I mean, I could put together a chart that will tell you what decibel levels are acceptable, you know, in certain environments. High traffic levels have a decibel level of X, and loud, heavy construction equipment has a decibel level of Y. So what do we determine is at 11 p.m. on a Friday night in the town of Morris with sound traveling across the lake and affecting people going to sleep, what is the proper decibel level we really need to assign, that's acceptable.
right.
And my first thought to answer that question would be,
At 11 p.m.
but the question is, what is defined as reasonable? And I think it's something like 75 decibels, but I think that's the number that comes to my mind. But rather than just relying on something that popped into my head as we were talking about this, maybe, Tony, do you want to reach out to Torrington Area Health and find out what, if they what their definitions are, because that number of 75, I think, came from them that I'm thinking of, and find out what's acceptable. What's acceptable over the property line.
I could pull some dB levels for a lot of different devices.
Yeah, it says 120 decibels can cause immediate harm to ears. So that gives
Yeah.
you.
Average
for OSHA is 70.
And Dave, what I'm looking for is what the local authority says on that.
Sure.
And if it doesn't state a decibel level in the town ordinance, then the next authority to go to would be Torrington Area Health.
Sure. Sure. And I could pull some numbers from, you know, what they allow after the like 7 a.m. as far as construction equipment or after a certain hour as far as, you know, heavy traffic equipment. I could pull some numbers together on that and bring them
If
to
you
the
could,
next
that'd be
meeting.
great.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
fine. Yeah, please. That way, okay.
So I've never
Thank you, Bill.
to a meeting where we had somebody email in questions. How do we respond? Does Kevin just watch this Zoom, or is somebody responsible to email him answers?
I'm the chairman, and I consider that my responsibility.
Okay, so you will reach out with the answers. I wasn't sure how that worked.
Yes, I will do that.
Cool.
In the past, that's how I have run things. And Bob, when Bob was chairman, I think he would have done the same thing.
That makes the most sense. I just wasn't sure how it worked. Thanks, Dave.
No problem. Fair question.
So here's a good indicator. I just Googled what is the average decibel level for a Metallica concert, and it's 100 to 105. So that gives
I said 40 to 40. It seems like 40 to 70 seems to be the norm.
Somehow number 75 pops into my mind that any noise has to be under 75 decibels or under when it goes across the property line.
A lawnmower is 90 decibels.
That's
But
why
lawnmowers are exact. Lawnmowers, chainsaws, all of
gets Metallica at
Tractors.
South Park. I'm going.
I can't wait for Metallica to start touring again. It's on my bucket list to go see them.
Hey, and in the South Farms defense, I have to say I went to Ben's website because I was concerned about crowd size, social distancing. He's actually got a really great plan up there. You know, he's going with the state limit of people. He's got
Yep.
grids painted
Yep. we
on
went
the
up there.
lawn, so only
Yep.
per grid, so he's got a really good system. He's actually got a whole protocol listed for everybody, so I felt more comfortable about the whole thing.
Yeah, he's definitely adhering to the guidelines. I will say that as well.
No, he's taking this serious, and I guess he's got this guy, Bill Burr, showing up in September, and he's already got one sold-out show, so he added 2
It's
shows.
sold out. Extended it to a third night.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Bill
So
Burr's
he's-
really
Who is Bill
famous.
Burr?
He's a very famous comedian. He's
Oh,
been
he's a
in-
comedian? Then I
he's-
need to go. I need to
He's been
laugh.
in
Anybody want to
movies.
go?
He's been in movies. He does
Who was
everything.
that woman that was there the other night?
I don't know who that
That's
is, but she's a
one.
pretty good comedian too, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave.
I know,
every-
I've asked him how many times what her name was, and I still can't remember. What's that?
Nikki Glazer.
Nikki Glazer, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
I think Dave G wanted
Yeah,
to say
I mean,
something.
No, I just went to the Torrington Health thing, and it basically said the same thing that we saw before. That it's basically the evaluated at that time. They don't, because otherwise they don't have any regulations.
Right.
It's the same. It's the same thing we just saw.
I'm sure it's rough anyway.
Yeah.
We did.
But the real question
Yeah, I
is,
mean,
what was the
Veronica was saying-
regulation?
Yeah, they go back. They go back to the probably the state statutes.
Like Veronica mentioned, he had to go. Torrington Area Health is how they helped him design how he should do the thing. Social distancing and so forth.
Right.
He didn't just do it randomly,
Ben is not a random person.
They were probably the ones that told him to point the stage away from the road.
Yeah, no, he probably thought that was a good idea too.
Oh, I think so.
But I mean, I think that's the most logical place. That's the bottom of the hill, and he
Exactly,
can
it's flat
stack
there.
people up from there, and you have, the hill behind you to shield provide some shield for the noise.
Mm.
So it comes in. It's not. I don't think it's over 75 decibels when it comes into the house, but I can, open up the windows. I can hear it.
And according to the complaint, he's stating that he cannot have any enjoyment outside during any of these concerts. And he is, this leaves my family no time to sit out and enjoy our property, let alone the detrimental effect we will have trying to sell. I can't have my windows open, and even with them closed, the noise overtakes everything inside my house. And then he states that he's going to try and work with us to get these answers, but if he doesn't get a solution or an explanation that satisfies him, basically, he's going to be reaching out for legal advice.
That's fine.
Of course, it's his right to do that.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we and put all that in the meeting as well, recording.
For the record, yep.
Yep. So, full disclosure, I know that we're talking about something else. I just want to let you guys know Veronica did the majority of the other thing where she said that I helped her. So, all the credit goes to her, or criticism, but really credit.
I think credit goes to both of you. Both are doing a lot, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I
Hey,
appreciate
You guys did
everybody
a
on the
great
board.
job.
I'm glad that we're able to hold meetings and move things forward after going through so many months of will we hold a meeting or not hold a meeting. It more often is, it's like we're going to have the meeting, and
Yeah.
I appreciate you for me being able to make that happen, because I can't do it without you.
I think we got a great team going. Yay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I,
Right. Is there
very
any
happy
other
to make
agenda
that.
items?
Nope.
no, that is it.
This is Eileen Butis. I make a motion to adjourn today's meeting at 9:25 p.m.
Do I have a second to
I
that
second that.
adjournment?
Third, fourth, fifth.
I second that. This is Veronica. I second that.
Okay. Any debate on the motion?
Dave, you want to say yay or nay?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. I think it was unanimous.
All right, stop the recording.
All right. Shut off that